Good morning, everyone, and welcome to the Ankerstar Wealth Market Update. I'm your host, Allison Ankerstar, and today we'll be talking about this week's Federal Reserve meeting, Lockheed Martin's F-35 purchase in Alibaba stock. But before we begin, as a reminder, this is a financial education presentation and should not be construed as personal financial advice. Full disclaimer and information is available at ankerstarwealth.com. Good morning, Steve. The Federal Reserve meets tomorrow and then should make their highly anticipated quarter point interest rate move on Wednesday. How will this affect the stock market?
Hey, well, good morning, everybody. And as you can see, as I pop open the camera here on deployed location for me this morning, so going to be on the road off and on for the next couple weeks. So please bear with us if we run into any technical difficulties as we're trying to get the show done. As you can see, you know, the markets are up a little bit today. It's just slightly after the open. NASDAQ still in the red a little bit, but I do think coming off of kind of a non-event weekend as far as news, the market should kind of bounce off of that low they hit last week. But really, all eyes are on the Federal Reserve. That's a great question. What's going to happen? Well, I think the odds in Vegas are something 90% chance there's a quarter point raise, which is highly expected. It's what Chairman Powell said in the meeting he had in front of Congress. What was that, 2 weeks ago? So I really do think that's what's going to happen. Now, if that happens, I think the markets just go higher because it's already priced in. When you look at, you know, the whole, are they going to do 3 moves, interest rate moves? Are they going to do 5? Are they going to do 7? Well, you have January, we kind of peaked out here and we've been selling off largely since then. So looking at more than 10% in the S&P 500. So I think most of the bad news is baked in as far as the Fed raising rates. So as long as they do what they say they're going to do, markets love certainty and hate uncertainty. So I think at that point, the market can set a basis and go higher. We do have the conflict with Russia and Ukraine. I think more so this market's being driven by the interest rate raise than anything else. So in conclusion, I think everybody who lives in the financial world will be glued to the TV Wednesday afternoon at 2 p.m. Eastern when they make their announcement and fully expecting that 0.25% raise.
Next, Lockheed Martin received a new contract for 35 brand new F-35 fighter jets. Is ticker LMT a buy, sell, or hold?
Well, I've been a long-term fan of LMT, and of course, I've flown their products as a fighter pilot. So I think, you know, trying to not be biased, but they do make good stuff, and they make a lot of money when they make the big high-ticket airplanes out there. So getting another contract is just one of the many drivers of revenue for Lockheed Martin. But when you look at the chart here, you're seeing something different than most of the other charts we've seen this year that peaked on December 31st, and it's been straight down since there. You're actually seeing that in times of conflict, such as we have with Russia and Ukraine right now, that the defense stocks are up. You know, I like Lockheed Martin, you know, I like Raytheon. There's several other good names out there. You can certainly use an index fund if you want exposure to this. Now they have run up. What will happen during a ceasefire? They will drop. Right? Because that means that it hasn't, you know, we're not going to go off into World War III. So do expect them to move. If you have an outsized position in like Lockheed, now would probably be a good time to trim it, right? I do think a ceasefire does happen within weeks instead of months or years. So then you'll see it reset a little bit. But overall, if you want to put Lockheed Martin in your portfolio, it is a long-term buy. So in summary, I would say you can, you know, I wouldn't necessarily buy it here, but I would be looking for a buying opportunity as soon as the ceasefire hits.
Last, Alibaba appears to be in a free fall again after several other Chinese stocks have been delisted. Is the bottom in sight for Alibaba?
Well, Alibaba's been a long-term favorite of mine. If you've been a follower of me, you've heard me talk fondly of this stock forever, and it has been a house of pain. Finally had to blow out of it last year, and you see that it continues on down. So when you think of risk, so country risk is one of the things we don't talk about a whole lot, but you're kind of seeing it with Russia right now. If you have anything in Russia, obviously it's been getting hammered through the economic sanctions. China kind of did this to themselves with their larger companies. They sanctioned their own companies to stop them from growing and gaining power. So therefore, they've been hit pretty hard. So whenever you're dealing with the country risk of the Chinese government, you know, as one part of it, there's some uncertainty there. Now you can be rewarded as well, but most of, you know, at some point in time, it is going to bottom. The other risk there is the U.S. reaction to China, which is, they haven't gotten involved in the Ukraine-Russia thing, but certainly if they would, I think sanctions would roll over there and then make it further more difficult to invest in stocks from China. So when you look at the Chinese stocks out there, again, in the U.S. market, you invest through an ADR version of that stock, and the ADR is a holding company buys that stock, and then you invest in the holding company. But really, Luckin Coffee had a disgraceful fraud case, a couple of years ago. They're back. I like them here, but again, same issue. You have country risks there, but that's why some of these stocks are getting delisted, is because there's some fraud, there's some uncertainty. They're booting them off the exchange. It started under Trump, and it's been continuing on. And when you look at this chart, at some point it will be a buy. Overall, though, I do not think that the bottom is in an Alibaba, and you just can't touch it yet.
Thank you, everyone, for your questions. Please submit your questions as a comment through social media or directly to our email at vipservices@ankerstarwealth.com. And don't forget to like and subscribe to get daily updates. That's all we have for today's show. I'm Allison Ankerstar, and we'll see you back here tomorrow.